Hi everyone, it's Kathy for Not Too Shabby, and I am super excited to be participating in the Not Too Shabby Pup in a Cup video hop. This stamp set was drawn by Jamie, the owner of the Not Too Shabby shop, and I'm excited to share with you two gift card holders today. The first one is a gift card holder that I've taught many times, and the second one is one that I saw over on Jennifer McGuire's channel. So about the hop, it is a hashtag driven hop. So to hop along with all of us who are participating, all you have to do is click on the hashtag that is in the title or in the description box below. Jamie is also hosting a giveaway for a $25 gift certificate to the Not Too Shabby shop. To participate in the giveaway, all you have to do is leave a comment on each video in the hop. The more you comment, the more chances you have to win the prize. The winner will be announced on June 25th over on the Not Too Shabby YouTube channel, which I'll make sure to link to that in the description below as well. And you must claim your prize by June 30th. So for both of the gift card holders, I colored the pug the exact same way, but I'm only going to show how I colored it once, just in the interest of time, because I want to focus more on how to put the gift card holders together. So I started with W6 and I blended that out with W4. When I moved on to his muzzle, I started with C7 and blended that out with W6 and W4. For the rest of his face and for his paws, I used E43 and E42. And for his ears, I used C7, W6, and W4. For his nose, I just used C7, and for the inside of his mouth, I used R20. For the foam inside the coffee cup, I just used E50 and E00, just to add a little bit of color so it wasn't so stark white. On a side note, for the coffee cups on both gift card holders, I did pretty simple paper piecing, just because I didn't want to have to do a whole bunch of coloring. And I did not include the paper piecing in the video because, again, I'd rather focus on how to create the gift card holders themselves. So moving right along, for the first gift card holder, you'll need a piece of cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 11 inches. And then with the 11-inch side at the top of your scoreboard, you're going to score at 3 inches, 5 1/2 inches, and at 8 inches. Next, you're going to fold it in half, which is at the 5 1/2 inch score line, and make sure your edges are lined up and then burnish that fold. The other two score lines, you're going to fold those in the opposite direction. So the two outer score lines will become mountain folds, and the very first score line that you folded on will be a valley fold. The next thing you're going to need is some score tape or some other very strong adhesive. I used 1/8 inch score tape because it's nice and thin, and it's also a really strong adhesive. You're going to add the adhesive so that you can close up your valley fold. So I applied the adhesive on the left-hand side underneath that score line, and then along the top and the bottom just before the valley score line. Once I had my adhesive in place, I removed the release paper, and then I closed up the cardstock on that valley fold to seal that up. So that is actually going to become the pocket where the gift card is going to slide into. What comes next is really important. You'll see that I straightened out those bottom two flaps. When I did that, I basically ended up with a top folding A2 size note card. And to create the pocket, you're actually going to want to cut off the top part of that note card where it's folded over. You don't want to cut the side where the flaps are already open. And what I did was I lined it up on my paper trimmer and I counted 3 squares, that's 3/4 of an inch, and did a tiny mark with my pencil, and then I just lobbed it off with the paper trimmer. And there you have it. That's how you get the pocket on the inside of the gift card holder. As I mentioned off screen, I had done all of the paper piecing. I had also run the pug through my die cut machine with a stitched rectangle die, and I adhered that to another piece of patterned cardstock just slightly larger. I adhered that to the front of the gift card holder and then decided to add a sentiment. So I put the gift card holder into my Misty stamping tool and grabbed the For Someone Sweet Sentiment from the set, inked that up with my Catherine Pooler Midnight ink, and stamped that down. And the final step for this was to add some details to the little eyes of the pug using a white gel pen. And I had also drawn a little line on his nose to add a little highlight there, but the white was a little bit too stark. So I just swiped it up pretty quick with my finger just to mellow it out a little bit. And that finishes up the first gift card holder. Moving on to the second gift card holder, I did stamp just the middle part of the cup onto a piece of craft cardstock. In a previous video, which I'll link at the end of this video, I had used a paper crimper to add texture to the cozy so it looked like it was corrugated. And I thought I could show another way to get the same look, but instead using a scoreboard. So I just used my stylus tool, and I did start in the center, and I scored every 1/8 of an inch, which in hindsight probably wasn't necessary. I probably could have skipped a line and just scored every other line, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, after I was done with the scoring, all I did was I folded it back and forth like an accordion and just made sure to burnish those score lines really well using my stylus tool, which again, in hindsight, probably should have used the bone folder, but that's neither here nor there. It ended up working out fine in the end. I did get to a point where it was getting a little bit more and more difficult to do the accordion fold, so I did trim off some of the extra cardstock. And once I did get all of the accordion folding done, I did use my scissors to fussy cut the cozy. Then I grabbed my vintage photo ink and just added a little bit of that with a mini ink blending tool just to make some of the folds stand out a little bit more. Moving right along for the second gift card holder, I started with a piece of patterned paper that measures 5 1/4 by 3 1/2. And with the 5 1/4 inch side up at the top of the scoreboard, I scored at 1/2 inch from each end. I also have a piece of green cardstock that measures 5 by 4, and again with the 5-inch side at the top of the scoreboard, I scored at 3/4 of an inch. Once I had those scored and folded, I did trim off the edges of either side just to give it a more clean look, which again, this is the gift card holder that I saw over on Jennifer McGuire's video. So I'm basically doing exactly what she did because she's kind of the master at doing stuff like this. Anyway, once I had those scored and I trimmed off those corners, I pulled out my trusty score tape again and placed it just on the flaps of the patterned paper. This is the piece that's going to go on the inside of the card, and the card base is actually going to be a top folding A2 sized note card. After I had the adhesive placed on the pocket, I grabbed my note card and I put a piece of the score tape at the very bottom of it, removed the release paper from the score tape that's on the inside of the note card as well as my little pocket, and you'll see here I'm going to turn this card pretty much all the way around because I could not get it lined up straight on the bottom of that card. So I tried it vertically, I tried it horizontally, and I ended up going vertically with it just at the top. For whatever reason, that was the easiest part for me. Then off screen, I was kind of playing around with the green cardstock, which is actually going to be pulled up when the card is opened, and it was just a little bit too wide. So I took about 1/8 of an inch off and then cleaned up that notch up at the top. I put 2 pieces of score tape on the flap, and the flap is facing up, so the adhesive is facing up. I tucked that into the pocket and then I closed the card. I pressed it down really well to make sure that the adhesive was nice and stuck. I had run another piece of green cardstock through my Gemini Junior with a scalloped stitched rectangle die and adhered that to the front of the card. I'd run another piece of patterned cardstock through with a stitched rectangle die and adhered that to the front of the card. I used liquid glue to adhere the patterned coffee cup on top of my pug that I had run through my die cut machine with an oval die, and then used liquid glue to adhere the cozy, and I made sure to press it down really well because of the corrugation. Sometimes the glue takes a minute to settle in a little bit. I used my tape runner to adhere the pug to a green scalloped oval, and then I used my tape runner to adhere that to the front of my card. To finish it up, all I needed to do was add a sentiment on the inside of the card. But before I could do that, I wanted to make sure that the gift card would be in the right place. Now, I don't have a gift card, so I used my Office Depot rewards card, which, it did its job. It was just a placeholder. So I used a little bit of repositionable adhesive to hold it in place inside the card. And then I stamped the sentiment "Happy Birthday" with Catherine Pooler Midnight ink. And that's it. That finishes up my second gift card holder. Don't forget to click the hashtag down in the description box to follow along with the rest of the hop, and make sure to leave a comment on every video so you have a really good chance to win the $25 gift certificate. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've not yet subscribed, I'd love it if you would. And don't forget to ring the bell so you're notified every time a new video is posted. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.